warning ignored. The great Galactic Council chamber was vast and filled with light. Beings from hundreds of worlds gathered inside, their voices rising in excitement. On that day, they were not speaking of trade, peace, or exploration. They were speaking of war. At the center of the hall stood the elders. They were the oldest race in the galaxy, ancient beyond memory. Their skin was pale and lined, their eyes heavy with knowledge that younger races could not understand. When the elders spoke, most listened. But not today. An elder stepped forward, leaning on a tall staff carved from crystal. His voice echoed across the chamber. "Do not move against the humans," he said slowly. "They cannot be stopped." The chamber fell silent for a moment. Every delegate turned their head toward him. Then, almost as quickly, the silence broke. Into laughter. The Vexeri, a proud warlike species, slammed their claws on the table. Unstoppable. They are from a single planet. Their bodies are weak, their lifespan short. How can such creatures be dangerous? The elders' eyes narrowed. Because they endure what no other race can. Fire, cold, hunger, pain, none of it breaks them. They adapt. They fight until there is nothing left to fight with. You have not seen what I have seen. But the laughter grew louder. The younger empires did not believe him. The Krith Dominion's leader raised his spiked hand. "Elders, your time has passed. You speak of fear, but we see only opportunity. Humanity has expanded too quickly. Their colonies grow near our borders. We must strike now before they become too strong." Another voice joined in, mocking. "Yes, these humans are only death welders. They come from a violent planet, but that makes them simple. Crush them before they spread further." The elder slammed his staff on the floor. The sound cracked like thunder. His voice shook with urgency. "You fools, do you think we did not try long ago? We tested their strength when they first entered the stars. Entire fleets were lost. Armies were broken. Yet still they rose. I tell you, now, if you bring war to their door, you will find no peace again." The laughter died down, but not from respect. It died because the chamber was filling with whispers of doubt. Yet doubt was not enough. The Vexeri commander sneered. "If your fleets were destroyed, perhaps the failure was yours. We will not make the same mistakes. We are stronger, faster, more advanced." The elder shook his head. His voice lowered to a whisper, but the chamber carried every word. "They are not stronger because of weapons. They are stronger because of will. You may break their ships, you may burn their cities, but you cannot make them bow. The more you strike them, the harder they rise. And when they rise, entire empires fall." For a moment, no one spoke. His words carried a heavy weight. Some council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. But then the Krith leader rose again, his eyes blazing with pride. "Enough of these ghost stories. The galaxy will not live in fear of a primitive species. If the humans cannot be stopped, we shall prove otherwise. Our fleets will strike at their colonies. We will end this debate with victory." The chamber erupted into cheers. Dozens of empires raised their voices, declaring war. The elders stood silently, their ancient faces unreadable. They had seen this before. They knew how it would end. As the noise filled the hall, one elder whispered to another, his words barely heard above the chaos. "They laugh now," he said, "but soon they will cry." The lights dimmed as the council declared their decision official. Humanity was to be challenged, pushed back, and humbled. But far away, beyond the council's reach, the humans had already begun to prepare. They had heard the whispers of war. Their fleets moved quietly in the dark, waiting. The elders turned and left the chamber, their steps slow and heavy. They knew that no one would listen. They knew the galaxy was walking into fire, and somewhere deep inside the human command centers, a single message was being written. It was short, simple, and cold. You were warned. The decision of the Council spread quickly across the galaxy. Fleets began to gather in secret hangars, warships polished and armed for glory. To the younger empires, this was not war, it was sport. They believed the humans would be crushed within days. Among them, the Krith Dominion was the loudest. Their leader, General Vorak, stood before his troops. His voice thundered inside the steel chamber of their flagship. Today we show the galaxy the truth. The elders speak of human strength, but strength means nothing against true power. We will strike their colony at Vera 9. It will burn before the sun rises again. The soldiers roared, their armor gleaming. They carried with them songs of victory, convinced that no one could resist the Dominion's fleet. But in the shadows of the council chamber, the elders stood silent. They had seen the same arrogance before. They had watched empires march proudly into battle, only to return broken and bleeding, or not return at all. An elder whispered to his apprentice as they gazed at the departing fleets. They go to their own graves. The humans will not run. They will not beg. They will fight with every breath, and the galaxy will remember this day. The Krith fleet cut through hyperspace like knives through silk. Thousands of ships lined the dark void, their engines glowing blue. Inside their war rooms, commanders studied the map of Veranine, a human colony world. It was a small planet with green fields, blue seas, and young cities. To the Krith, it looked fragile. Easy prey. Strike hard, strike fast, General Vorak ordered. Let none escape. We will show the humans their place. The fleet burst out of hyperspace above Vera 9. The sky of the colony darkened as alien. Warships filled the heavens. Civilians looked up in terror. Farmers in the fields dropped their tools. Children pointed at the burning trails in the sky. The Krith ships began to descend. Their weapons glowed with fire. But then something strange happened. The planet's defense grid did not activate late. It activated instantly. Dozens of massive cannons rose from hidden bunkers. Shield barriers shimmered into existence, covering entire cities. On the command deck of the Krith flagship, an officer's voice cracked with confusion. General, they were ready for us. Vorak snarled. Impossible. We masked our movements. They could not have known. But the humans did know. From behind Vera's largest moon, human warships emerged. Sleek, dark, and silent, they drifted into view like predators. Their railguns glowed faintly, charged and waiting. A human commander appeared on every screen in the Krith fleet. His uniform was plain, his voice calm, but his words were heavy as stone. You were warned. The Krith fleet hesitated. Then Vorak roared, fire, destroy them. The first shots were unleashed. Plasma cannons blazed across the void, crashing into human shields. Explosions lit up the dark like suns. But the humans did not fall back. Instead, they advanced. Fired, silent but deadly. Long metal slugs shot across the void at unimaginable speed, tearing through Krith warships like paper. One by one, the Dominion's proud vessels shattered into burning fragments. The Krith commanders screamed orders, but it was no use. Their systems were hacked, their communications jammed. Somehow, The humans had entered their networks before the battle even began. Entire squadrons drifted helplessly, unable to fire, before being cut apart by precise human volleys. On the colony below, civilians watched as alien ships burned in the sky. They saw humanity's fleet move with terrifying precision. Every strike was clean, calculated, merciless. In less than 20 minutes, half the Krith fleet was gone. General Vorak stood frozen, staring at the burning wrecks on his display. His voice trembled for the first time in his life. How could this be? We are stronger, we are more advanced. How did they know? How were they ready? The human commander appeared again on the screen. His calm eyes held no joy, no anger, only cold certainty. You thought we would not hear your council's whispers. You thought we would not prepare. Every move you make, every word you speak, are already listening. Then the screen went black. The Krith fleet broke. The survivors fled into hyperspace, leaving behind wreckage and silence. On Vera 9, humans lowered their weapons. They had protected their colony without losing a single city, but they knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would not stop here. In the council chamber, the survivors returned days later, their ships scarred and broken. The laughter was gone. Their voices shook as they described the battle. The humans were waiting, one survivor said, his skin pale. They knew everything, their weapons tore through us as if we were nothing. The chamber filled with fear. Some demanded peace, others whispered of revenge. But in the shadows, the elders spoke quietly. They laughed, one elder said, and now they begin to cry. The council chamber was no longer filled with laughter. Where once there had been mockery, now there was silence. Delegates whispered to each other, afraid to speak too loudly. The first strike had failed. The mighty Krith dominion, proud and powerful, had been crushed in less than an hour. The survivors stood before the council, trembling. Their armor was scorched, their voices unsteady. They knew we were coming, one captain said. His eyes were hollow, filled with shock. They were waiting for us. Every move, every plan, we thought it was secret, but they knew. The elders watched quietly. One of them finally spoke, his voice low and sharp. I told you, the humans cannot be taken by surprise. They see what you do not. They prepare for what you cannot imagine. The words echoed in the chamber, heavy with truth. But some leaders refused to accept it. No, said a delegate from the Thalric Union, his many eyes burning with pride. The Krith failed because of their arrogance. We will not fail. Our fleets are larger, our weapons stronger. Humanity will bow before us. The elders shook their heads, but once again their warning was ignored. Meanwhile, on Earth, inside a secure command center, deep beneath the surface, human leaders sat around a dark table. The room was silent except for the hum of screens. On one wall, images of the destroyed Krith fleet played again and again. Ships breaking apart, burning, falling into the void. For the humans, it was not a victory to celebrate. It was a message. General Marcus Hale, a tall man with grey hair and a hard gaze, leaned forward. They will not stop here, he said. The Council will send more fleets, larger fleets. This was only their first test. A young officer nodded. Then what do we do? The general's eyes narrowed. We respond. The human fleets began to move, not just to defend, but to strike back in ways no one expected. They did not launch open attacks. Instead, they used shadows. One night, the starports of the Krith Dominion went dark. Every system, every weapon, every light all gone in a single instant. The Dominion's engineers screamed as their technology failed. No one knew why. Later, hidden human code was discovered buried deep inside their systems, planted years before the war even began. Elsewhere, supply lines collapsed. Cargo ships filled with weapons and fuel exploded mid-flight, their engines sabotaged. Human operatives, unnoticed and unseen, had already infiltrated alien industries. Entire colonies woke up to find their skies filled with silent human drones, watching from the dark. The drones did not fire. They only watched, sending one clear message: "We see you." In the council chamber, chaos spread. Reports poured in from every empire that had mocked the elders. Sabotage, disappearances, strange signals in their networks. "They are inside our systems." A delegate shouted, panic in his voice. "Every defense we have, they know it." Another delegate slammed his fist on the table. "How can this be? They are only one species." The elder leaned forward, his ancient face grave. "They are not only one species, they are one will. They are united in a way you have never known. While you argue and scheme, they prepare together. That is why you cannot stop them." At the same time, the humans sent a message to the galaxy. It was not broadcast with fire or thunder. It was sent quietly, a signal received in every capital world, every command center, every council hall. The message was short: "We do not seek war, but if you bring it, we will end it. You cannot break us. You cannot outlast us. You cannot hide from us. We are humanity." The words were simple, but they shook the galaxy. Leaders felt the cold truth in every line. Still, some races refused to believe. The Thalric Union, proud and hungry for power, prepared their fleet. They would prove to the galaxy that humans could bleed. Inside their war room, the Thalric commanders spoke with confidence. "They hide in shadows. Let us bring them into the light. Our fleet is unstoppable." But as their ships prepared to launch, something impossible happened. Their entire fleet, thousands of warships, shut down before even leaving the docks. Engines froze, weapons locked. Communications died. On every ship, a human symbol appeared on the main screen. A single hand, closed into a fist. Beneath it, words glowed. "You are warned." Panic consumed the council. The galaxy had never seen such power. Not brute force, but control. Not destruction, but dominance. Humanity had shown that they could reach into any system, any fleet, any stronghold. The elders stood, their staff echoing as it struck the floor. "You laughed when we told you, and now you see the truth. Humanity cannot be stopped. Not because of their weapons, not because of their ships, but because they never give up. They fight with fire in their spirit. And if you make them your enemy, you will not survive." Far away, on Earth, General Hales stood before his officers. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with determination. They wanted to test us. They wanted to see what humans would do. Now they have their answer. We will not kneel, we will not bow, and we will never be stopped. The council chamber was no longer the proud place it once was. Gone were the voices filled with arrogance. Gone were the laughs that mocked the elders' warnings. Now the chamber was a place of whispers, fear, and silence. Delegates avoided each other's eyes. Every day, new reports arrived. Fleets disabled before launch, supply lines destroyed, colonies monitored by unseen machines. It was as if humanity's shadow had stretched across every corner of the galaxy. They are watching us, one delegate whispered. His voice trembled as he spoke. Even in our homes, in our ships, in our councils, the humans are everywhere. Another voice rose in fear. We cannot fight them. Every fleet we send is broken. Every plan we make, they already know. The elders sat quietly, their faces heavy with sorrow. They had warned the galaxy, but no one had listened. Now, the younger empires trembled like children in the dark. But not all accepted defeat. In the far reaches of the galaxy, warlike races gathered in secret. They whispered of vengeance, of a final strike against humanity. The Zoran Collective, known for their vast hive fleets, prepared in silence. Their queen hissed to her brood, her voice echoing through the hive mind. The humans are dangerous, yes, but even they cannot stand against the swarm. We will drown them in numbers. We will crush their worlds beneath our endless tide. The brood screamed in agreement. Ships were prepared, millions of soldiers bred. They would strike where others had failed. But as they prepared, they began to notice something strange. There, resources vanished before reaching the fleet. Their supply worlds went silent. Their production lines collapsed. Hive ships waiting in the dark never received their fuel. And then the whispers began inside the hive mind itself. Strange signals, human voices. A cold phrase repeated again and again inside their thoughts. You were warned. The swarm froze in terror. For the first time in their history, the hive mind knew fear. Meanwhile, the survivors of the Krith Dominion wandered broken through the stars. Once proud, now haunted, they told stories of the human fleet. They did not destroy us all. One survivor whispered in a crowded spaceport. They left us alive. They wanted us to run. They wanted us to carry their message. The tale spread. Faster than any signal, across the galaxy, creatures of every shape and form told the same story. Humans had no need to chase their enemies. They simply let survivors escape, carrying fear with them. Entire colonies whispered in the dark. The humans do not fight for conquest. They fight for survival, and survival makes them stronger than all of us. In the council, desperation took hold. Some leaders begged for peace, demanding negotiations. Others called for greater weapons, greater armies. But the truth was clear. Nothing worked. One delegate slammed his hands on the table. If we cannot defeat them, then we must unite. All empires, all fleets, together we strike at Earth itself. One last war. The chamber roared in panic. Some agreed, others refused. The fear was too deep. The unity was too weak. And through it all, the elders rose. Their staff echoed on the floor as silence fell. You speak of unity now. One elder said, his voice sharp, but it is too late. Humanity has already won. Not by battle, not by conquest, but by breaking your will. Look at you. You no longer laugh. You no longer speak of victory. You speak only of survival. The words cut deep. Delegates shifted, ashamed and afraid, far away inside a human warship drifting silently in deep space. Commander Hale received the latest reports. Entire fleets stood still. Hive minds were breaking apart. The galaxy was drowning in fear. He spoke softly to his officers. We did not need to destroy them all. Fear is a stronger weapon. They will break themselves without us lifting a hand. One officer frowned. So we just wait. Hale nodded slowly. Yes, the galaxy wanted to test humanity. Now the galaxy trembles at the answer. Let them spread the fear. Let them whisper our name. It will do more than any weapon could. And so it happened. Across stars and empires, the same phrase was spoken again and again. In markets, in homes, in war rooms, in fleets. You were warned. The words became legend, burned into every heart. The Elder's prophecy had come true. Humanity was because of firepower alone, but because the galaxy itself carried their warning. The fear spread like fire. Empires turned on each other, desperate to survive. Allies betrayed allies. Old enemies united, not to fight humanity, but to hide from them. The galaxy had never been so divided, and humanity had never been so strong. The galaxy was breaking. Fleets no longer moved with confidence. Colonies no longer slept in peace. Every empire whispered the same words in fear. The humans are unstoppable. Yet still, the council tried to hold order. The chamber filled, again, but it was no longer proud. Delegates shook with nerves, their voices filled with weakness instead of strength. One leader spoke in desperation. We must talk with them. We must beg for peace. Another shouted back. No, if we bow, they will destroy us anyway. We must fight together, now. The chamber erupted in chaos. Voices overlapped, some crying for surrender, others for war. No one agreed, no one trusted each other. And then, without warning, every light in the chamber went dark. The delegates froze. The great hall of the council fell into silence. Screens around the chamber flickered to life, and on each one appeared the symbol that haunted every empire, a single human hand closed into a fist. The room was silent. Hearts pounded. Then a voice spoke, calm, steady, human. You gathered here to laugh at the elders. You gathered here to call us weak. You thought we would bow. The screens shifted. A human commander appeared, dressed in black uniform. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with fire. You were warned. The delegates trembled. Some bowed their heads. Some clenched their fists. None dared speak. The human continued. We do not seek to rule you. We do not seek to burn your worlds or enslave your people. But if you raise your hand against us, if you bring war to our homes, then you will not return. You will cry, as the elders said you would. The words echoed across the chamber, across the galaxy, carried on every channel. The elders stood tall, their staff glowing faintly as they faced the terrified council. This is the truth we tried to speak, one elder said. You thought our warnings were fear, but they were history. We saw humanity rise when no one else could. We saw them bleed, suffer, fall and then stand again, always stand again. Outside the chamber, across 1,000 worlds, the same message played. On mining colonies, alien workers dropped their tools and listened. On warships, hardened soldiers felt their hands shake. On distant moons, children repeated the words in whispers. You were warned. The galaxy understood now. Humanity was not unstoppable because of weapons or numbers. Humanity was unstoppable because of spirit. Because no matter how great the enemy, no matter how deep the pain, they refused to break. In the following days, something strange happened. Empires that once mocked humans began to send envoys to Earth not with threats, but with offerings of peace. The Krith, Dominion, broken and humbled, sent their leader to kneel in apology. The Zorin Collective pulled back their swarm and silenced their queen's call. Even the Thalric Union, once so arrogant, sent messages begging for talks. But humanity did not celebrate. They did not cheer or boast. They only prepared. Their fleets remained silent in the dark, their weapons charged, their eyes always watching. General Hale stood in the war room once more, staring at the star map filled with trembling empires. His voice was calm, but his officers felt the weight. In every word, they think fear will make them obey. But fear fades. Respect remains. We will show them not only our strength, but our honor. Humanity does not conquer. Humanity endures. And the galaxy must understand that difference. The elders, at last, allowed themselves a small smile. For countless years, they had carried the truth alone. Now, the galaxy knew it. The laughter was gone. Only silence remained. In time, new treaties were formed. Borders shifted. Wars slowed. And everywhere, the shadow of humanity remained, not as conquerors, but as a reminder: if you push them, if you threaten them, if you try to break them, you will fail. The elders' final words to the council became legend, repeated across stars and generations. They laughed at the warning, and then they cried at the truth. Humanity cannot be stopped. On Earth, beneath the night sky, children looked up at the stars. They did not see enemies. They saw a galaxy full of possibilities. They did not know the fear they had spread, only the strength they carried inside. And far across the galaxy, in the hearts of those who once mocked, one phrase echoed in silence, forever unforgotten: you were warned.